welcome to this second episode of Seeding the Mystery with Darren Michael, my good friend Charlie Hauck. Charlie, I've known you for, I think, 12 years now.
I think that's probably right.
Charlie was the founder and owner of Growth Dynamics, which for my business did relationship selling training. We'll put it that way. I think the kind of wisdom that Charlie brings to the business world comes from a much deeper source. We're going to try to excavate a little bit of that together today. Welcome, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
As I've kind of matured through the business world, I think of all the people that I've gotten the opportunity, the pleasure to meet. It's not just about sharing whatever perspectives I had. It's sharing both our perspectives. It's having the opportunity with those people to just talk about what's real and what really matters, not in a way, Darren, that I think people want to talk about things that don't matter. They overcomplicate things. They overcomplicate life. And I think some people find a lot of joy in overcomplication. And so to sit in a setting like this with someone like you, where you and I have had the pleasure to just talk about, it'll sound counterintuitive. Why are we watching this? We're just going to talk about the basics. But I think sometimes if we all stayed in the basics, we'd be better off. And so thank you. I'm honored to be part of this process with you.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the things you hear in business, our business, is it's simple, but it's hard. Complication is usually the mark of a distracted mind that's not thinking cleanly.
That is so powerful, because one of the things in a simplified setting that makes the most difference, and I think can make the simple yet complicated things about the business that you operate and the businesses that I've worked with that are in the same world that you are, it gets complicated when we're not present. When we're not where our feet are, where we're afraid of what might happen in the future, and we're still angry about what happened in the past, that we're not connected to the simple conversation that's happening right in front of us, right here, right now. When you're trying to operate in 3 time slots, present, future, past, the world is a mess. And so if the people that I've worked with and the people that you've hired and worked with, if we could get them to just stick to what's in front of them, I think they'd all be a whole lot more effective. And not only would they be more effective, I think they deliver much greater value to the people they're trying to work with.
I've seen the deep truth of what you're saying, but I'm going to ask maybe on behalf of somebody that hears that, because there's a part of me that hears that and says, okay, but I have a goal. I have something I want to accomplish with that person across the table from me, right? And I use the word manipulation in a non-pejorative way. Manipulation to me is just simply what we do with our hands, our manos, right?
Yep.
To move. And so there's a building process of any relationship, but you still have a goal. So, and that's in the future. So how do you stay present with a goal?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think when we look for the answer outside of that circumstance that you're describing, which is that business meeting, that business conversation, I've kind of morphed all the language in my business not to include the word sales. I think sales has painted a lot of things with a brush that isn't necessarily complimentary, although the world would stop if people weren't selling. When we want to lose weight, the goal of being 20 pounds heavier can't happen right now. The goal of not eating the extra bowl of fish food at 10 o'clock at night is being present. Should I eat this relative to my future desire, my future outcome? And so virtually everything that we interact with on this planet is part of a bigger process. But if we don't manage the moments, we're not going to master that process to its entirety. And so a business development conversation is simply, I think the person we'd like to do business with, they have a goal too. They would like a better relationship possibly, or a better product on their shelves. And they'd like to do it with a person that they feel completely trusted by, and they want to trust. So it's not, I want them to trust me, and I also want to trust them. Trust is not a one-way street at all.
Yeah, no.
And so when we're both working on that, what's your goal? And my goal is to figure out if this is the right business opportunity for both of us. Not I want to sell you a product. The product should almost be invisible, but the accomplishment of building a conversation that lets us both reach a point where we go, you know what, this does make sense for us to do this together with each
Mm-hmm.
other, not
Yep.
sell to you, buy from me, but we do business together. Or we figure out for the right reasons that it's not on disqualifying you as a human. You're not a good prospect. This just isn't the right opportunity for us to do business. Let's move it aside. You get to find a better opportunity than the one I've presented. And that's where I think we can sort of change the ideas and the concepts of, I do have a goal to get something done, but I shouldn't think I have to get to that goal the moment we start. It's the antithesis of one of my favorite movies where Alec Baldwin's in Glengarry Glen Ross says, ABC, always be closing. The pressure of someone always trying to close you is horrible because we've all been there and we're like, yo,
Right. Oh God. Yeah.
yeah, get that cheap suit guy out of here. Let's just always be communicating. Ooh, I just made that one up, by the way. That was pretty good. The
I
ABC,
like
let's
it.
always be communicating. So I think that changes the perspective.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's interesting because as you were speaking, like part of where that question that I asked comes from is identifying your goals as yours,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the goal is not actually for you to dominate the other person and just manipulate them, and it's to enter into a relationship, especially in a business like our business where we
Yeah,
want customers for life. We
right.
genuinely want customers for life. And so it really behooves you to find that balance between self and other, which is the communication,
Right.
which is the same root as communion, as community, right? Like it's all one thing
Yeah.
that we're trying to find that mutually shared goal in a way that hopefully is enjoyable and does cut through the bullshit. Because to one of the points you were saying before we started was that you are noticing in your part of the ocean these waves of people wanting to have business relationships that are truly authentic to who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not like we all have to play the game of business, right? But it'd be nice if we could bring more of ourselves to it.
Well, yes, which takes us to kind of the three most dangerous letters in the English language from my perspective. And it probably comes from Greek somewhere. So ego. When our ego has a desire to dominate, which you used that verb a couple minutes ago, and I think it's a really important verb to talk about in the realm of business and business development. Our ego has a job, and that job is to protect and to validate us against all others in a way. And so our ego is this very, very powerful part of us that is trying to do what it believes is best for us, even if it's not good for others. And so you may fracture a relationship because your ego says, and this is one of my least favorite phrases of the current times, don't let people disrespect you. That person's disrespecting you, Darren. Straighten him or her out. If we teach people, don't let people disrespect you, then everybody has an axe to grind with somebody else all the time.
Yeah.
And,
It's like, yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Just respect yourself and you'll find that other
Yes.
people learn too as well.
Yes. That's so critical. And so when you're not emotionally needy of the acceptance of everybody else and them saying, oh, thank goodness you showed up. Now I can see all of your greatness. Boy, we feel good about ourselves, but it becomes hollow because if they don't always assign that value to us, or if other people don't assign that value to us, our ego now has something it has to do to fix that.
Yeah. It's like a structural flaw of the ego, right? Because the ego wants to be the infinite,
Right.
but it's the finite, right?
That's
It's
so
the finite.
true. Yeah.
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 But the value is in the ability to watch the ego, participate with it,
mhm.
but also recognize it's not the whole of the show.
the ego is a great place to question. Is that really beneficial? And one of the things that the ego typically doesn't ask us to do is to take the time to ask not just what did somebody say to us, but why did they say it? And when we can give ourselves the discipline to hear something that we may like it or may not like it. I'm not worried about the positive or negative of the statement, but why that thing was said. And having the discipline to say, hey, Darren, that was a really good question. That's a good thought. Can you share a little bit more of that with me? It does two things. It gives us clarity so that we really start to react to the right thing, not the most obvious thing, because typically the right thing is not the most obvious. But it also, it nurtures the other person where they think somebody wants more than that from me. They actually value my deeper thought. When people feel valued, I want to hang out with the people that value me. And so it actually, it builds, look, the three most important words in all relationship success are nurture, nurture, nurture. Very little nurturing is done when you tell somebody, I think you're wrong. So if we can just give ourselves a chance, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because one of your teachings that you have shared with my company is you really need to always protect the ego of the other person, right? And in my younger, more pugnacious days, I hated that advice because there are some people I wanted to put in their fucking place,
Uh-huh.
you know, right?
Yep.
And I found actually what I was doing was giving myself somebody that didn't like me so that I could learn the part of me that is afraid of not being liked,
Uh-huh.
right? So we'll come back to that maybe, but this I think is a good place. I want to actually read something from you. So
Oh,
you gave me this book many years ago,
yeah.
The Little Book of Relationship Management. And the first page, the fundamentals, 4 fundamentals. It's not personal, it's just business.
Yeah.
Number 2, you are always better than you think you are. Number 3, everyone is operating with positive intent. And number 4, the stress or worry you see on a client's face is often a mirror of the stress and worry they see on yours. So I'd love for you to elaborate on these because they're pretty counterintuitive.
Yes. So we'll start at the bottom and work up. The stress and worry you see on a prospect's face or on someone else's face is most likely, I don't think I said most likely, I said is often in what you have there, but I think it's most likely the mirror of what they see in you. If you're relaxed and not stressed and not trying to control the whole thing, people will be like, if Charlie's not stressed, if Charlie's relaxed, I can relax. If you're nervous and tense and you're grabbing, trying to dictate how everything is going to happen, I do think somebody should be in control, but we should ask if we can be in control. But that mirror image concept, when you're not present, you will not see the muscles in the face change. You and I spoke about Buddhist teachings and things, and so much of that has to do with the breath. When you can relax enough to watch another person breathe, you can tell a whole lot about what's going on and what the room temperature really is. So if you're just focused on, I have to get a yes from this person, you're never going to catch it. You're going to be so seller centric that you'll never really know what that buyer is trying to send you. And sometimes they're trying to send you a signal that says, relax, relax. We can just have this conversation. I can almost remember the moment the person that taught that to me said it the first time to my ears. I needed to hear it at that point in my life. That one, really good.
Yeah, I think recognizing that the world is a mirror of what's happening inside you is a fundamental capacity that one of the things I love about Buddhism is it's not a religion in the sense of it's not asking you to believe anything. It's just simply, here's a way to train your mind that you can verify for yourself. And I would challenge anybody, spend 30 minutes a day trying to pay attention to your own thoughts. Open your heart, love what arises. It's going to change your life. And in fact, it's like you think about how much training we do in our society toward all kinds of ends, physical training, educational training, scientific training. And we don't train anybody on how to use the fundamental tool in your arsenal. Not use it, but actually like recognize that everything you're experiencing scientifically, structurally, neurologically is a reflection of your inner state. We miss it.
And in a way, because we don't measure it and count it and attach a value to it. I've done thousands of hours of work with hospitals, CEOs, chief nursing officers, every department in the hospital, from the finance to the environmental to the radiology. And it's amazing to me to kind of add to what you just said. Their whole stated mission is to make people better. We could argue some things about the current state of healthcare that people would say, Charlie, that's not true. I do think they actually want to make people better. They do very little training inside of those organizations on the people part that allows the science to be effective. When I go to a hospital, I say, well, how many hours have you guys done this year on communication skills? Well, we did 10 hours. I'm like, is it this year? They go, no, my entire career. And yet those people spend all day interacting with people that are nervous, worried, frustrated, terrified. So what's the message coming from inside is so poorly missed in that environment. So yes, you're right on target with that. But we like the things that we can write in a book and read them and say, this is an equation. And frankly, some of the things I've been the least gifted at in my life are equations. Feelings, people, my sweet spot. Equations, not where I'm going to be doing my best value work.
There is something to be said for the fact that the deepest value is not something you can count. And it's almost, you can't even use that same part of the mind that does count.
Correct.
Because it is actually, you're essentially infinite. Like your experience, right? The amount of information that is coming at you in any one moment is, if you can get into a quiet enough place, you feel that even more intensely. But one of the things you said with respect to the nature of healthcare, right? You said, well, Charlie, not everybody's, they're not really all trying to help people, right? But that kind of brings us to your third fundamental, which is everyone is operating with positive intent. So I don't know, Charlie, there's some people that seem to clearly be acting in harmful ways that I struggle to understand what positive means in that example, those kinds of examples. I don't want to name them, but you know what I mean.
Yep. We might not agree with the intention, but I always give people credit for having put some thought into it, that in whatever way, sane or insane, they believe the world would be a better place if we believed what they believe and acted the way they acted. And so they perform, they communicate, they dictate in ways that are, at the end of their argument, the world would be better if we made these the most universal values that we all subscribe to.
Or if we bombed this country,
yes.
Right? Or, gouged this customer, right? Whatever the thing is.
Yes. There's a phrase, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. And price gouging, hey, they really needed it, so I jacked it up. Yeah, you made an extra $4 commission. I get it.
Right.
But when that person feels that you abused their circumstance, not a lot of long-term relationship there, and not a long legacy of people saying, one of the things I always like about doing business with them or him or her, I just never worried about whether I should trust them. we don't sell products and services. They're invalid because they're all duplicatable. There are three things that I think your people have to transmit into the marketplace. And your people, you can be a sole proprietor, so that part of you that is business development. If you're a rep agency and you have 22 people on the street, if you're a fast food vendor, I don't care. You have to sell trust. Do I trust that their intent is positive for both of us? And do I trust that if they say they're going to do it, they will do that, and they'll do it when they said they would? I trust you. Do I have a set of beliefs about them? We all chafe at the customer is always right. It ends with a comma, and then there's more. They're not always right for us. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It's just not the right business opportunity for both of us. But if people believe you will always do what's best for them, comma, even if it's not best for you, they will share anything and everything with you because they believe you will never use that to hurt them.
I call it the magic of a goodwill.
Ah,
Right?
great phrase.
Like, well, one of the things about my kind of business is if you do acquire an agency, you're really acquiring goodwill in like an accounting sense, right?
Right.
And it is an accountable thing, but it's totally not something that you can count either, right? We
Right.
put a monetary value to, we try to,
Yeah.
but ultimately what it is your long-term building of trust in a marketplace with a network of people. Now, I'm literally a professional like salesperson, and even I got uncomfortable when I heard you say sell trust.
Yes.
I'm much more comfortable with build trust. Actually, you were in the meeting with my company when I kind of like got frustrated with everybody because I had been talking about this like three-legged stool concept
Yes.
of like what our agency does, and it's build trust, create demand, make it easy. Those three things, that's what we do. But build trust really is the paramount one. That doesn't matter what your job is. If you're proactive, reactive, you're always building trust. But you said sell trust. So tell me about that, because trust is something that's given. It's kind of a gift.
You're the first person that's ever put it in that kind of either or category with me. And you're making me almost stop long enough to go, maybe I have to change that language. I think where I put it in the sell it box, because I don't believe there are any unique products anywhere. And if you have something that's truly unique, within 24 hours, it will have become commoditized. Someone will say, that's a great thing. We should make one like it.
Absolutely.
And there are no unique products that are lasting as uniques anywhere in the world. And from a pencil to a computer, everything is duplicatable once it's been made once. And if somebody says, we sold a boatload of these things, someone else is going to make another one and change where the switch is and say, we didn't knock off your product. So
yeah.
Services, insurance, healthcare, there's millions of people that do those things. And so where I put that in the sell category is the only thing unique are the two people that are interacting. That potential customer, that prospect or suspect, whatever the status may be, the humans are the only unique things in the transaction. So
Yeah.
I put trust in there as, if I build it right, to use your language, and I really think it's powerful. You create it, you build it, you almost, word we don't hear too much, you imbue it.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I trust that person. So I don't know that it's technically a sale, but I think it's a critical component in it. But I like how you differentiate it. I like the three-legged stool concept that you attach it to. I love three-legged stool, triangle stuff, price, quality, service, pick two, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think that part of that part that arises when you say sell trust is there is just a negative valence to the word selling, sales, right? People
Yes.
think all the things that they think, used car, slimy, duplicitous, right? Grab your wallet. And there's a lot of truth to all that. Because, like anything else, selling has a shadow aspect. But, I don't know if you ever read Daniel Pink's book, To Sell is Human.
No, I haven't
You ever
read
hear of
that
that
one.
book?
Yes, I've heard of
So
it.
I needed to read it when I first got into selling because I came from being an attorney. Like I
Mhm.
kind of held my nose at being a salesperson. And I read it and his fundamental point is just that we're the kids trying to sell their parents on going out for pizza at night, right? Like we're constantly, which comes back to the earlier question of we are all trying to like maneuver one another, right? There's a dance.
Mhm.
Sometimes it turns into wrestling, right? Sometimes it turns into war. But we are ultimately trying to relate to one another and work towards something like a trustworthy existence.
Um, yeah, it's, we just sort of culturally decided that everything has to be a win or lose. And and so if I'm a winner in this conversation, by that structure, that means somebody else had to lose. And
Yeah.
and I think we dummied up the win-win concept. Oh, I want it to be win-win. That's true. But I think too many people use that as a disguise.
Oh,
Um, a-
absolutely.
and so there isn't a genuine sense of what it is to be win-win. And
Yep.
so I think if we go back to trust, um, if the trust is I won't I won't stick around for a win that's not a win for you as well. If one of us has to be ahead, if it isn't a zero-sum game, we can't participate.
Yeah. Well, and I call those triple wins.
Oh,
They're triple wins. You got you, me, and the us, right? Whatever the
uh,
relationship is, that's a
really nice
winning, right?
touch. Yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's helped me establish better partnerships with some of my customers because
Mhm.
genuinely, like I care about them. We have a lot of, we're kind of business. We're really lucky. We actually build real friendships with people.
Mhm.
Like we actually really do, and make money together, which is like the best freaking kind of business.
So there's the third one.
Yep.
If you don't know how to
The
sell profit, trust, belief, and the third one is the business capital of profit. If you
Yeah.
can't help someone make more profit, man, you got to exit the room. You've got to. I made a great commission. Did it make their business more profitable? No, but I made a good commission. That's bad juju.
Right. Right.
The
That'll bite you over time.
yeah, the karmic effect of that's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think coming back to everyone is operating with positive intent.
Mhm.
Um, I think the truth of it is the more you pay attention to your own experience and learn how to let go of the ways you've screwed up, the ways you've harmed people, harmed yourself, you realize like you're doing your best. Like you're doing your best. Um, and everybody is doing their best. They really are. That doesn't mean it's very good,
Right.
right? They're back to like the point of like win-lose society, right? I look at that and I think we have the leaders that we do. We have the including business leaders, right? Like how much more could you freaking want when you have $100 billion, right? Like, come on. I'm winning and winning and winning and winning until I hit the grave, right?
Right.
You already have it all. We already have it all.
Yeah.
Um,
When you can say
but
yes to almost every option that people put in front of you,
yeah,
how much more, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
But but it's because like I think I look at it and I really feel like it's because a lot of people are stuck in their adolescence developmentally at some level, right? Where that's the part, everybody remembers the brutality of middle school, right? Why is it brutal? It's because we're all leaving our parents, focusing on our peers, and trying to figure out where we fit in the hierarchy, right? And it can be painful, especially for men, to be lower status, right? Like there's all kinds of psychological consequences to hierarchy, but we're also not going to get rid of it,
Right.
right? But what we lack is the mature hierarchy of recognizing there actually is an abundance to the world, and that if you have been given to, much is to be expected of you, rather than, no, you've been given so you can keep getting and getting and getting.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Because that's like the greedy little, middle schooler on Halloween, just sucking up as much candy as he can.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not gonna, be very nutritious for you or your people who you have under you.
Yeah. And all the other kids remember when they went to that house where the honor bucket was out there, take two,
Yeah.
and they emptied it in their bag. Everybody goes, that Charlie's a jerk.
Yeah. Yep.
It doesn't stay in the vacuum that the greed has us believe that it might be. So
Right. Yeah.
It's very, very there aren't a lot of secrets on this planet when we're done with it all. So
No.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I love what you said about the two unique aspects of a business conversation.
Yeah.
Are the two human beings engaged in it.
Right.
What's interesting about that is, I kind of want to shift gears and just talk about AI for a second, right?
Yeah.
Because I could put out 3 podcast episodes and you could feed that into an AI and you could create a video of me doing whatever you want with all my mannerisms and weirdness. Okay. It'll get it, but it will never get an inner experience. Right. And so as in the world of sales, as companies try to push artificial intelligence, automatic funneling, do you think there's a place long term for the human experience to triumph?
So, boy, what an interesting question. I'm sitting here at 70 years old, which to anybody that's not there yet, you'll be shocked at how quickly it happens, despite it feeling like it's always farther away than you thought. Getting here has been a huge benchmark in my life for a couple different things. But one is kind of focused on exactly what you just asked. Technology, I think, is more omnipresent just by its nature than it's ever been. And I'm kind of the last generation that grew up starting without technology anywhere close to where we know it today. My daughter, who's my partner in this business, she basically can't remember going to school without computers. I can remember when I was a sophomore in high school, I think there were 6 computers in the high school, and they were in a computer lab, and you had to qualify to get into the computer lab. Obviously, I never saw the inside of that room. And in a way, I still haven't seen the inside of that room. And yet here you and I are with all of this technology surrounding us. The very room that I'm sitting in is kind of a microcosm of what I just explained. Somebody has to turn this stuff on and off. Somebody has to decide, is that what we want those people to see for positive intent? Let's go back to that one. Somebody has to say, is that superfluous or is it valid? I don't know that we'll ever create a technology instrument that has the power to truly adjudicate value for another human being. And until something comes along, we can teach it to speak. Look, I had a circumstance recently with a client of mine said, Charlie, I AI'd you. I asked AI, whatever program it was, would you write this email the way Charlie Hauck would write this email? And man, I don't know if I was thrilled or pissed off that out there in the world was all of this stuff that I do that somebody went, blah, 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 and there's a Charlie Hauck answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But until we can technologically align values, there has to be a place for human interaction, no matter what. Everything you and I are doing on this podcast, AI can capture what we've shared, but who it gets shared with has their world experience, their life experience, their experience as a child to certain parents. All of those things will influence how that person filters that AI generated content.
Well, I think in a real way, the existence of value is because we have an ego.
Yes.
Because there is finitude, we will die. We will only get so many years.
Mm-hmm.
We value things, right? You value, like, I'm never going to get this moment again.
Right. Right.
Because I'm embodied as an ego consciousness, right? And so what's interesting about like the way we use technology, and is that this is a psychoactive device, right? Like if somebody else watches this and they say, "Oh, that's a great point," and then it changes, whatever their path is,
Right.
right? It literally was like came out of these lips into a microphone, compressed down through some wires, shot up into space, back down into your headset, right? And then it'll get uploaded and they'll play it on LinkedIn or something.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's pretty wild to think about when, it's not that long ago that the only way you could talk to somebody was stand in front of them and talk to them. It's not, I mean, in the course of human history, right?
Yeah.
It's really not that long ago. And so, I don't think I think part of where my question comes from is, it's not a helpful thing for most people for us to be living on our phones and on our computers all the time, right? It's so easy to ignore, the reality of the actual human being across from you.
It's so I'm sitting here 24 hours ago. I was at our second home in Vermont. It's been brutally cold. And on one hand, it's been like my 70-year-old ex-roofer, ex-lacrosse player knees are like, do not take us out in the cold. We've had enough of this in this life already. Now it's going to be in the 20s up there today. I wish I was there.
Yeah.
But that visceral experience of 15 days on the slopes this year, whether it was that experience of myself and that environmental interaction, off the chairlift, down the hill, the cold, the rush, the speed, add in the accompaniment by my wife, who just I just love every run with her because it's time that we get to spend in the most kind of raw experience together. Patty, that was a great run. God, let's do that run again.
Yeah.
Technology will never give us that. I've never had that from looking at my phone or watching something on a screen. I might learn something that's utterly amazing, but I can taste the air when I ski. I can feel it, and I can hear those three things. I can see the world go by my goggles.
Yeah.
I don't think technology is ever going to give us that as readily and as thoroughly as being outside and my toes are frozen, but I'll do 2 more runs because it was so exhilarating. Um,
Yeah.
boy,
I mean, we've always had technologies, right,
yep,
that are a bridge between the ordinary and the extraordinary, you know?
yep,
Um, but this well, coming back to kind of what we talked about with, the ego being like the three-letter word, it's really the way you interact with the technology.
hmm
If it's just like you're making your narrow existence of the world, which is your ego, which is your face, right?
hmm
Like
yep.
you're making it even more narrow with the technology, it's probably going to harm you, right? Because it's very easy to manipulate people with technology, as we can see from our society.
Yep.
Um, yeah, but there is a way I feel like I'm learning how to use it in a way that has a hopefully a broader perspective. Like it's weird. I'm doing a podcast. Like I'm starting to like make content, but I also like feel like every time I do it, I want to say, "Now turn this off and go outside." Like I would tell my kids, like you get off the phone, go outside. You'll use your
I
body.
think that would be a great sign off.
Yeah, yeah.
y-
This is your
y-
chance to, yeah,
yeah, and hey, I hope this made sense for you. Now go outside and do something with yourself.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's um, I look, I can't read a book on a laptop or a pad. I just can't. I have to
Yeah,
viscerally touch those pages. Um,
yeah,
I I feel like with the tactile experience, the words are more powerful to me.
yeah.
But a flat metal object, it doesn't give me that same thing. And um, so, look, but I know people who might, other than what they had to read in elementary school, might not have ever read a book as a book.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And I'm
Right.
not saying my experience is better or more valuable or has created better learning for therefore everybody should do it. I'm not that ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I just know that if libraries just became things we plugged into,
Mhm.
uh, I'd probably not be much of a library user. So
Well, yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. I've kind of had the digital nomad, like, ideology at times where I'd think I just want to live out of a backpack and own nothing and
yeah,
be happy, right?
yeah, yep,
But the one thing that I don't think I could ever let go of would be physical books. So I'm gonna like need a house big enough to hold all my books because yeah, that's I'm very much with you on that. But let me shift gears and come back to fundamentals because
yeah.
this one I probably have the least intuitive sense of what you mean by, and that is you are always better than you think you are.
Um, so that one's really uh, it was shared with me. I can almost tell you, I could probably go back on the calendar and touch the day that I first heard that one. It was with the guy that got me into this business. Um, and it became a very personally impactful uh, thought first. Just the thought of it. Like, if this is where I am, isn't this as good as I am? And based on the crazy history of my life and the experiences, good and bad, that I've gone through, there were moments where I didn't believe I was worth anything at all. I didn't know that at the time. I just, from a third party perspective, once I started to acquire the gift of separating myself from myself, which is an amazingly powerful thing to master, I started to realize that it was kind of a chicken versus the egg thing, which came first. Once I didn't accept that where I was where I was. It is what I was worth at that moment. But the part that most of us miss is that's not a cage. It's not a restrictive reality. It's just a moment. It's what your self-perception is at that moment. But a whole lot of what we've talked about here today is the capacity humans have to recreate a self-perception. And so what if I, at some point, Usain Bolt could say, that's as fast as I can be. And imagine if Usain Bolt had ever said, that's as fast as I could be. What would he have done? I mean, so he went, you know what? I'm actually faster than that world record I just set. And so in a way, we all have that same opportunity that great athletes. What if I could play that song one way better? What if you had your best year ever running your agency? Was that the end of it? Was that like, that says, hey guys, maintain because that's as good as we can be? Impossibly horrible idea.
Yeah. There's so much there. Thank you for explaining that. I don't know if you ever heard this, but I heard that Usain Bolt, when he was like training as a younger man, he would often run near a volcano.
Yes.
Which is
I literally
it's like
just
the
heard
most
this,
metal thing.
I just heard this 2 to 3 days ago.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Which is just that's so amazing. Yeah. But where do I start? There's so much there. So yeah, the self that you think you are is a construction.
Yep.
You're never who you think you are because who you are is beyond thought.
Wow. We might have just scared everybody off the podcast.
Oh, I'm sure.
With that, so.
I'm sure we will. I'm gonna scare plenty of people. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't. But and it's nothing crazy. It's simply to say that, well, you can only. It seems like we mostly think in words, in language, and there's an ineffable quality to life. Let's just say that, right? There's a part of life that you can't put words to it.
Right.
Right. Like the immediacy of now, the beauty of a sunset, right?
Yep.
I try to describe it. But so you're always better than you think you are opens up the recognition that you're constructing yourself in real time. Right. So if you have a self-limiting belief, right, but that's not to say I'm going to, make it to the NFL. Right. Like there's things I'm just not going to, but you can become who you are, and that is actually like such a paradoxical statement because who you are is like your being. Becoming is this thing that unfolds over time, but you become who you are. And that is a construction that you are not a victim to. It is actually something you co-create with reality because whatever it is outside of you, you only ever experience through your mind, right? But the part that I guess I get tripped up on is this notion of better. The comparativeness, right?
Yes.
So how do you balance a full acceptance of who you are with a desire to be better?
So you used a word that I'm kind of shocked that neither of us had touched on until 35 seconds ago or so. Victim. Egos and victims tend to party together. And it's not a necessarily enjoyable party unless you desire to party as a victim with other victims. So and the egos that attend in that world are, yeah, guys, you're all right. Everyone else is messed up, but us. And so those things become, people like to hang out with people that have the same somewhat sheltered view or limited view, self-limited view of potential, capability, growth. We actually have a lot of cultural stigmas about wanting more, be content, somewhat damaging. Good things come to those who wait. You just have to hang out, hold your breath a little bit longer, and something awesome will appear in your world, as opposed to you can have it if you'll go do it type stuff. So, the idea of better is solely a self-construct. It's why I think we can't sell features and benefits. If we want to go back to the kind of how you and I sat down in these chairs today, is a Bradford white water heater better than an A.O. Smith water heater?
Yes, just for our sponsor's sake, yeah.
Yes, but how many million times just this year already has someone said, but I think the Bradford White's better, so I'm going to buy that.
Sure.
They're both great products. This isn't because one might be better, one's bad. That I don't want to. You and I are on the same page. Conflating that is a mistake. So, and I've worked with companies that sell both. Tons of Bradford White clients, tons of A.O. Smith State clients, and so the fact that I've worked with both of those, it's not the physical product that's better. It's your third leg of your stool. Make it easy.
Sure.
And so what that requires is that human to decide, I'm going to do service, communication, reliability, integrity better. But I have to be able to ask you, hey, Darren, what's your experience with those things? And what does better look like to you? So better is everyone's option. Definition is self-determined. But personally, is there will I ever be able to run faster than I can run now? No. So that better, finite. Okay. But in so many other things, even at 70 years old, I can be a better communicator. I can be a better money manager. I can be a better spouse or a parent or grandparent.
Sure.
It's just got this opportunity that we all have to think in a way, as much as I don't like the what if constructs that a lot of people use to limit their lives. I love what if. What if I didn't believe I couldn't be better? What if I didn't believe I could take that risk? What if I did believe I could take that risk? Yeah. So that better concept, boy, if we go really kind of metaphysical, I want to live a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, what a big pile of bullshit that might be. Right?
For sure. Oh yeah.
But in a way, I think in the last 5 to 10 years, that has truly been the most consistently motivating thought in my life.
So that, part of it, being better, definitely includes owning your own real shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You say it's not, that could be a big pile of bullshit, but owning your shit is taking real responsibility for your one precious life. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody gets to be Charlie Hauck but Charlie fucking Hauck,
Yep.
right? And so you get to be you, and you want that to be a better and better version internally meaning constructed, right?
But
But so
in there though, and this is, you know, you and I are kind of warm up before we went live here. You said there are a lot of things that have happened in my life, and I realized they happened because I'm a pleaser. And I've had the same curse. Living a better life is not pleasing everybody.
hell no.
It's knowing that no is just is so good for me to say to other people, no, I cannot do that. Instead of thinking, oh, I'll make everybody happy by doing whatever they want.
Nope.
What a
there's
what
a
a-
Kendrick Lamar song. You can't please everybody.
yeah.
It's just one of my favorites.
It's a self-created death spiral is really what it turns into.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So
you said though you heard that phrase that you're always better than you think you are from somebody some time ago. So like how did it actually play out in your life? Like what did it goose you to do when you heard it?
well, at that point in my life, I had come out of being a contractor, a roofing contractor. The sad part of that story, and I've shared it, I'm not afraid of ever sharing it. I worked harder than I've ever worked to create the biggest failure I've ever experienced. We bankrupted that business. We didn't know what we didn't know. And by the time we realized we were in trouble, the snowball was going downhill faster than we could learn how to fix it. And so it was ugly. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Both a partner and I suffered terribly through the process. My wife, to her credit, she refused to be a victim, which was, I didn't realize it at the time, was really the anchor I had to hold on to. But I went through a period where I worked more hours than I've ever worked, and I made less money per hour than I've ever made. I mean, selling soap as a Cub Scout at 8 years old, I made more money per hour than I did in those 3 years. And that's not an over exaggeration. And so when I took this training course and I heard this statement from that guy, I didn't think I was worth anything. Now, I thought I was worth enough to take the course and get better, which was boom, big moment. But I didn't believe I was worth anything. And so over time, I found I could sit down and talk successfully and in an advisory capacity with people that own businesses and have been as successful as you have been. When what I was most terrified by was I drove up in a pickup truck that I had been using to deliver pizza at night because I was making no money. And the front end of the truck, I let it roll down the hill when I went in to pick up a new bag of pizza, and it hit the corner of the building. So it looked like I had eaten 5 Quaaludes and ran into a tree dead center. And I was like terrified. I got to park 4 blocks away and walk to their offices. I was terrified that people would say, so tell me about your business experience. And I would have to fat lip my way through this bullshit story.
Right.
But because I had this, I still, there it is, act as if. I had to act as if I was worth more. I was better than I thought I was for that hour conversation. I did it enough times that 8 years into this kind of new career, I was consulting to Ernst Young, and I was not a client of theirs. They were clients of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
how long did you say that took? I didn't catch how long.
8 years.
Amazing. Yeah.
But they all had the alphabet soup at the end of the name. And,
Sure.
And I had excellent pinball player, pot smoker. Those were former roofer. But in sort of mind prepping for this conversation, I'm like, what's one thing I really want to get out to share? It's I learned I was really good at about three things. And when I get outside of those three things, I'm not doing good for anybody. And I think we all have a finite set of gifts. We have other capabilities. They're not gifts.
Right.
I can still frame a house. I'm not gifted at it.
No.
I can teach my grandson how to use tools, but he needs to go, he's in trade school, and he's going to get taught by someone who's gifted. Doing the things that you and I are doing, these are our gifts. And I think we have a responsibility to share it with the world. And the more I share it, the better I learn to do it. So my getting better happens through the willingness and the enthusiasm to sit down like this and talk to somebody like you about what is being better really about. The more I teach, the more I do, the better I teach.
Yeah.
And so that path from literally hoping I make $15 a night in tips to some crazy hourly rates at Ernst Young, that's how I lived through that. You're always better than you think you are. Because there were moments I'm like, I got to go in and walk in this room, and there's 9 guys in there that are PhDs, MDs, MBAs, all kinds of different things. And I'm a 3-time college dropout. How's this going to happen?
Yeah. Man, I'm so thankful for that chair. There's so many things in there. Like, and I've seen this play out in my own life where you think you're worthless. And so, as within, so without, it shows up in your life, and, your business fails, your marriage fails, whatever your fails.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you don't think you're good enough. And then somebody tells you you are, and you don't really believe it yet. It's like a nice thought, but you fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Beliefs are psychoactive. And so, you start testing it, and you find that you do get better and better and better, and you build that virtue. And then when you really tap into your own personal gifts, your own vocation, and it's not just a job, it's a vocation, it's a calling.
Yeah.
You're pouring into yourself, and from that full cup, you overflow in value to the rest of the world, right? Because you can't pour out of an empty cup. And if you're miserable and not doing what your heart wants you to do, you're going to probably not add the value you think you're adding.
I've kind of boiled my life down to this, and it's just a distillation of Emerson's law of compensation. The more you give, the more you get. People in business development are always, it's a getting game to most of them, because they get paid if they get. That's the way the math works. So they focus on that, the more you get end of the phrase. And when you just reference the overflowing cup, the way you fill your cup is giving. And there's no limit. You can't say yes to everybody. We can go back to that statement. But there's no limit to virtuous giving. Don't give to harm yourself. And some people don't know where that limit is. They're horrible at it. I have some family members that give so much to other people. I think they live in constant misery because they are not getting in return. And so the more I give, the more I get. And I've had some crazy stories in my life of times I've given to people, just simple things in life, helping someone find their way home type stuff.
Yeah.
But I always believe that the world will recognize it some way or somehow. And
I I think it does show up, and I've seen it with guys on my team. Like one of the I mentioned being a pleaser earlier. There's a great book called No More Mr. Nice Guy.
mhm,
Any guy that like recognizes himself as a pleaser, as somebody who's giving to their own detriment, you
mhm,
know, um, ultimately that stems from feeling like you're not worthy to receive, because to have integrity, which is to me really the essence of everything we're talking about here,
I'm with you. Yep.
is a balance between the self and the other, right? You are also an ego. You are a distinct person, and there are other distinct people, and you're equally as valuable as them, no matter who they are, no matter what their bank account says or your bank account says, or what their power dynamic is, or how high they are in the hierarchy. You're equal to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're all the same height when we lie down. And you know,
I
um
like that.
and at the end of the day, when we all die, we're all going to lie down. And
That's right.
the tall guys are going to be the same as I am. And oh well, we should have just thought about that a few years earlier. But
Yeah. I
it's
mean, sometimes I think about how ridiculous, like hilarious we are as humans. Like we make a big difference out of like an inch or two. Like, and it's like, how far is the sun away again? How big is the universe?
yeah,
Like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we do.
It,
Yeah.
it's but look, I don't think it in any way should tell us we're not allowed to reward ourselves. Um, Living my best life is not a totally giving life. It's a huge part of my life, but I've worked hard. Uh,
Hmm.
I've endured all kinds of trials and tribulations and come out on a different end of it that
Yep.
at a point I wasn't sure I'd ever see. Um, but I mentioned my wife. She's an oncology nurse. She's a lifesaver, literally. Um, is there a better oncology nurse? I guess, but we could talk about that gradient of better. I don't think there's one that's better. Um,
Yeah.
sh- Her gift is so magical. Um, she, der- sh- Her commitment to me deserves the absolute best commitment I can make to myself and to her. And in that is this is being able to make the decisions that allow us to ski 30 days together this year. Um, I think she's on day 30 today. I'm not there. But she deserves every one of those days. She gave for 35 for 45 years and selflessness. And so she's earned and a good friend of mine uses phrase karma stashing. Uh, she has stashed enough karma in her life that her being up in Vermont and like, yeah, I think I'm going to go ski 3 hours. And Patty, knock yourself out. You have so much credit in this world. And I think we should all think about what we build credit in
Yeah.
and how we use that credit and share it with those that care the most. I I mentioned being 70 a little bit ago, and I have to say I turned 70 in October, and I said to my wife, I've never really had like a big party that I wanted to have for me. And so she said, knock yourself out, do it. And we rented this beautiful property here in the town that we live, and we had it catered. And I put together a list of people, one of whom was the first friend I ever remember having from when I was 4 years old. And a couple of them were people that have become very close to me in the last 2 years through business and other relationships. And I think we had 73 people in this room. Um, other than getting married, the birth of my 2 children, the birth of my grandchildren. And then there was one other experience of somebody dying that I have to throw in there because it was that important. Um, Not my parents, though. I was emotionally prepared for my parents to go to wherever we go.
Yeah.
Um, but the energy of that gathering hit me like a ton of bricks. And it just made me, when people come to you in your life and say, "Hey, we're getting together," or what, why don't you? We have friends. Why don't you come down and see French Quarter Fest with us? And I'm like, these are really good friends. Yeah, I'm putting that on the calendar. Um, I find that when we value the relationships enough to make time for them, the rewards are so much greater.
Absolutely.
And and you mentioned one of the gifts of your business. You're someone I cherish the relationship since you and I first really started talking to each other 12 years ago. When you said, "Hey, I'm doing this," that was like, sign me up. I'm in. Um,
Yeah.
I would just hope everybody that gets a chance to watch this or listen to this kind of can make that time in their lives. Um, it, it's it is the most rewarding uh, part of my journey.
Yeah. Yeah. One of, you and I have gotten to know each other through a business context. So I guess one of the things that I think we're going to be dealing with in a meaningful way in the coming years is the, you know, the, uh, the promise of, the current economic regime we had, back when it was first being instantiated in the, 1930s or thereabouts, with, you know, was that as you grow an economy and produce more and more over time, people's working hours will go down and down and down, right?
Didn't
Because
happen.
it doesn't take a lot to keep a human being like clothed and fed, actually,
Right.
right? Like, um, and with the tools that we have, and AI being able to eliminate a lot of work, and there is I mean, I was a lawyer for a year or two, and there's definitely aspects of that business that are going, you don't need them anymore. You really don't. It's funny how like some of the white collar jobs are going to be potentially the most heavily disrupted.
Hmm.
And then of course the question is, okay, we got everything done in like 8 minutes. Now what do we do? Right? Oh well, now the power dynamics come out and play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think there's a societal level importance to how we do business that I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic that that we could really have more of an abundance kind of mentality as a society. But we got to fix the denominator, right? Like when they just keep saying that everything, we now have $9 trillion, now we have $50 trillion, and you see how that makes it less affordable for people to live and get those basics.
Yeah.
And what most people want is just like they'll go and clean the toilets for 8 hours, but they just want to be able to feed their family. Like my grandfather was a vending machine repairman. Okay. In like 1989, I want to say was the last year he worked. He made like $17,000
Wow.
in 1989 dollars. Now, if you put that in an inflation calculator, it'll tell you $43,000 or something today.
Right.
But he fed a family of five kids.
Right.
My grandma never worked a day outside the house, right? She worked her ass off in the house, but never worked outside of it. she had like 40 or 50 cocktail dresses with matching pumps and purses, and they would go to the VFW hall on Friday nights and dance the night away. Okay.
Yeah.
That tells you a couple of things. One, it tells you that the inflation statistics that are officially from the government are bullshit, because you could never feed a family of 7 on $43,000 today.
No.
Right.
No.
But it's 3-card money. I mean, it's a casino, a racket. And I think people are starting to see through that a little bit more.
I agree.
I think there's an education happening, not only in business, but in finance as well, that I hope will make more people stably wealthy, which is actually, not to have a bunch of stuff, but to have autonomy and control over your own time.
Security.
Yeah.
Yeah. Safety and security. And, we've all gotten too comfortable knowing these phrases. They're, housing challenged or housing starved or,
Houseless.
yeah, we've just gotten too comfortable with those descriptors. And there's enough money in this country to make it all go away. It's where it is. And I don't want to get into a moral rant about any of it. I have some very significant feelings, but
Sure.
Look, being a victim doesn't do it for anybody. So we all have to decide, am I willing? I can burn a lot of energy blaming everyone. I'm having a lousy sales year. Yeah, but there's 5 other people in the company that are crushing it. Same company, same lines, same economy. What's the difference here? You didn't get all the bad customers. That's just not the way it works. And
Right.
we've got to look at the end. We talk about, one of the things we teach people, it's not management's job to make you successful or to motivate you. Management's job is to provide you a healthy, safe, integrity-based environment to be the best you can be personally and professionally. And after that, I don't think there's much more we should be asking management or ownership to provide us.
Right.
So
yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. One of the things I think that when you hear the word victim, I think there's like an immediate, oh, are you victim blaming? Right? Because there is a victim blaming there's an energy of victim blaming, and there's an energy of victim consciousness, and they support one another.
Yep.
And it's not to say like somebody who is born into a difficult situation, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's not at all what it is. But it is, no matter what your station in life, recognizing your own sovereignty as a human being, as an individual, will lead to more beneficial outcomes than thinking you are a victim of your circumstances. And you may have, in fact, been victimized. Everybody's been victimized to some degree.
Yes.
Right? There is a lot of bad karma out there.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean it's a matter of consciousness.
It's not a life sentence.
And there's a wisdom, I think, in what you're saying, that management. So what is the role? You've seen Boss Baby, right? The movie.
No.
Have you ever seen? No. It's hilarious. So actually, you brought up Glenn Ross. So it's Alec Baldwin. He's the voice of a baby that it starts off up in heaven, and there are babies that are born, as normal people, and then there are babies that are born into management. And Alec Baldwin is, like this tough ass, and it's pretty funny, but there is a managerial quality to keeping the ship running, and it doesn't benefit management to try to fix people, right? Like you offer a stable environment, you genuinely encourage integrity, you try to have them right people in the right seats.
Yeah.
Right.
Provide the opportunity.
align, the job with skill set as much as you can, right? But ultimately, yeah, people are they're going to prove to themselves how much they value themselves
Mm-hmm.
over time. This is what you will show yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't make them bad people.
Hell no. Sure.
That's that valuation. No, you're not making all you can make. There's something wrong with you. No, that's not true. It's a choice with the best choice they can make with the information that they have. And that goes back to that positive intent thing again. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I say this in all the classes that we have, and I get a lot of chuckles. And I think when a lot of people leave the class and start replaying what they just experienced, look, the world would be an absolutely magical place if all the people would just leave. Because the world is magical, but we put these imperfect beings or imperfect creations on it, and everybody's doing what they're imperfect at too.
Yeah.
But it's just, we can't make that happen, so we have to make the best out of it.
Yeah.
And that's really, in our training, I want the best for everybody. And some people, I have to admit it, the best for them is that they're not in sales. It's just not where they're,
Oh, for sure.
and
Yeah.
as much as they want to be because they think it's this pathway, um, they're just not. It's just not where their gifts should be applied. And
Yeah.
so, um, luckily, your organization and most of the organizations that I work with, there's a ton of really great people that belong in that magical space.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes we just got to give them, we got to express a belief in them. We got to believe they're doing it for positive intention. I walked away from that guy. Maybe we ought to talk about that, but you know, but it beats a lot of alternatives. That's what I think. And I'm glad I'm part of it. And I'm glad I get a chance to meet people like I met you, and the network of people that brought us together. Well, I've made just, I can't imagine my life without that world. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it's meant to me professionally, financially, and personally, I could have never painted that picture. From where I was 37, 38 years ago to where I am today. And the ride, it's just been an incredibly vibrant experience. And I'm glad at 70, I still love doing it because it beats the hell out of working. So
Yeah.
that's
I'll
where
tell you,
I'm.
I'm thankful I've gotten to know you for the last 12 years. And, we didn't get the fundamental truth number one, which is it's not personal, it's just business.
Yeah,
But I don't think we need to, because
I think
one of
we
the things
did
I
it.
love is, yeah, I think we did. And, what's amazing is when business does lead into a great personal relationship, man, that's just the best. I look around. I mean, I talk to my partner sometimes, and we're just like, "Wait, we get paid to do this?"
Yeah,
It's like, oh
yeah,
man, we're lucky.
yeah,
We're lucky. We get to work with some amazing people, and the thing is, everybody's pretty amazing if they let themselves be.
yeah.
And the more you see that in other people, the more fun you'll have in business.
Everybody brings something valuable.
Mhm.
May not want to hang around with it much, the
Yeah.
rest of it, but
Right.
man, there's some amazing thoughts, and I'll give anybody a chance to share them. Doesn't mean I'm going to
Yeah.
agree. I may think, hey, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to schedule a meeting with that person again, but they're not a bad
Well,
person.
yeah. That's why I called this podcast "Seeding the Mystery," because I don't have any idea what'll come out of it. It's all a big mystery. We think we know what's going on, but things are a lot stranger than
Yeah, stranger
yeah,
things, right?
stranger
So,
things. So,
well, look,
Charlie, I really really appreciate you doing this.
this was wonderful. And if you ever find yourself on the New York State Thruway heading east. You get to Albany and go 2.5 hours north, and you'll be at our door right next to Mad River Glen.
Oh,
All skiers, no snowboarders. Sorry to piss off a bunch of people,
I love that.
but
Yeah.
it's a magical community. Really is a magical community. That's why we ended up buying a house there. There's something at the head of that valley that just envelops you with this warmth of people that everybody's accepted there, and we find ourselves drawn there more and more and more. We're not going to relocate there completely. Our family's here. That's too
Yeah.
important. But boy, is it great. So, hey, I think I just got told I've used up our time here in the studio.
Fair enough. Well, I'd
So,
love to take you up on that. I heard the
all right,
skiing's
man.
great in sewer. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much for asking. I'll do it anytime, anywhere you ask. All right.
Appreciate you, Charlie. See
Take
ya.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.